Welcome back, Trailblazers. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to talk about a tool that has completely transformed the way I plan and navigate my hikes, AllTrails Plus. As a Trailheads ambassador and the organizer of the Yakima Valley Trekkers, I'm out on the trails a lot. One of my favorite features of AllTrails Plus is the ability to edit and create my own maps. Conditions change, fallen trees, washed out sections, or even a last-minute reroute. And with AllTrails Plus, I can adjust my route on the fly and share it with others so everyone stays informed and safe. AllTrails Plus also gives you offline maps, wrong turn alerts, and 3D trail previews to help you stay on track and make the most of your adventure. And the best part, you can get 30% off an AllTrails Plus membership with my exclusive link in the episode show notes. So whether you're planning your next big trek or just looking for a new trail to explore, AllTrails Plus has you covered. Check it out and let's hit the trail. Welcome to Season 12 of the Hikes and Mics podcast. I'm your host, Ivan, and each week we're hitting the trail through conversations with extraordinary hikers from across the United States and beyond. Fall is one of those magical times to be outdoors. The air is crisp, the trails are lined with golden leaves, and every step feels like an invitation to slow down and soak in the season. This year, I've had the privilege of sitting down with hikers who bring the same richness to their stories. From through hikers reflecting on lessons learned to everyday adventurers chasing larch season and finding peace on quiet trails, their voices remind us that the outdoors isn't just about reaching summits. It's about connection, reflection, and discovery. So lace up your boots, grab your favorite warm drink for the trail, and get ready. Season 12 is here, and the conversations ahead are as colorful as the fall landscapes we love. From being 505 pounds to summiting Mount Kilimanjaro, this week's guest, DonWitt, has lived one of the most powerful comeback stories we've ever shared. As the founder of Hiking with the Bear, DonWitt opens up about transforming his health through hiking, finding community on the trail, and proving that the outdoors truly is for everyone. From that first 75-pound backpack to leading groups up Shenandoah summits and even standing above the clouds in Tanzania, his journey is a reminder that every step counts. Without further ado, let's jump into this episode with our guest, DonWitt. Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of the Hikes and Mics podcast. I have a really exciting guest with me today who's going to be sharing his both hiking and backpacking journey here in the States and abroad. His name is DonWitt. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. We always like to start off by having our guests share a little bit about themselves and how they got started hiking.
Thank you for having me here today. Yes, I'm DonWitt Penn from Washington, D.C., Southeast. I am the founder of Hiking with the Bear. I'm a plus-size outdoor ambassador and backpacker who's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and I'm passionate about making outdoors accessible for everyone.
You know, you've been really open on your platform about your journey from being 505 pounds and struggling to walk a block to, like you said, summiting Mount Kilimanjaro. Looking back, what role did hiking play in that transformation, not just physically, but mentally as well?
Hiking was everything in that transformation. When I was 505 pounds, even walking a block just felt impossible. But once I had the gastric bypass and I started moving again, hiking became my way of taking life back. Physically, I built up strength, endurance, and confidence one step at a time. Every mile that I covered on the trail was proof that I was capable of more than I thought. Mentally, being out in nature gave me peace, focus, and a sense of freedom that I haven't felt in years. Out on the trail, it wasn't about the weight that I had lost or still needed to lose. It was about being present, breathing fresh air, and pushing forward. The woods became my therapy. The mountains became my classroom, and nature itself is my healer.
Oh, that's beautiful. You know, one thing that I think really captured my attention was your personal motto, push to inspire. And I think that's what you're doing on your platform. Me, myself, being as a plus size hiker, seeing what you have been physically capable of doing, like inspires me to want to summit some of these big peaks, not just in the States, but abroad. What does that phrase mean to you now compared to when you first started?
Well, when I first started, it was all about me pushing myself to just get out there. And I started posting things online. I was just out hiking and people was like, "Oh, you inspire me." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." But it's more than just inspiration. I love challenging myself. I love pushing myself harder and harder. And if I see a challenging hike, I jump on it. And one day I was like, you know what? I push to inspire people. I'm out here pushing myself, and hopefully I'm pushing to inspire people to get up off the couch, go outside, take a few steps. Just go outside and just breathe some fresh air. Just do something different. Do something with nature. Go outside and just hug a tree. So that's where I am with Push to Inspire.
For a lot of us, especially folks that are just starting off in their journey, it can sometimes be overwhelming on where to start. And I think over the last couple of years, a lot of hiking clubs have been popping up all over the place. And you've talked about how joining groups like Gombe showed you that hiking is for everybody. How important has the community been in your outdoor journey?
Community plays a vital role because going out and seeing other people such as yourself and just going out and just feeling the love and embracement as a whole, and you go out there, it's an amazing feeling. And with Gombe, I started hiking with Gombe fall of 2017. It was my first backpacking trip. And I didn't never backpack a day in my life, didn't know anything about backpacking. I was on Meetup and I signed up for this backpacking trip. I was like, okay, what do I need? So I go on Amazon and just order all this stuff. I'm like, all right, I could do this. So I practice setting my tent in the house. So I know what I'm doing when I get out there. Don't want to look like a rookie, even though I am a rookie, because let me tell you, it's a 3-mile hike, 2 miles to the top of the summit. It was 1,000 feet up and 1 mile down to the valley. My backpack weighed 75 pounds. I was blown away. I was just like, this pack is too much. I got halfway up the mountain. I wasn't even using tracker poles at the time. At the time, I was using a walking stick. And I'm going up this mountain. At one point, I got up halfway. I looked off and I was like, I can't do this. I said, all this stuff is going back to Amazon. I'm getting off of this mountain. But being out there with other people, like it was one of the leaders. He came over to me. He said, hey, man, you got this. He said, look how far you've come. And I looked down. He said, the top is right there. You're almost there. So I keep pushing. I get to the top, take a breath. I get down to the valley. When I get down to the valley where they're already setting up camp, they got the fire going already. I get this like a round of applause with me arriving. I'm like, I don't know these people from anything. And they was like, you did it. You did it. I'm like, wow, I did. So that overwhelming feeling, just being around those people, got me to want to continue to backpack. And I started backpacking and taking people out so that they would have the same feeling that I had the first time that I went backpacking. And it's this amazing, overwhelming feeling of being seen, being around people that like to do the same thing that you like to do. It's a great feeling.
And I think with outdoor groups, especially those that are putting on these backpacking trips and day hikes, it's really beautiful to see you, be a member and now you're taking folks out. How has that transition been from, you going out there for your first backpacking trip to now taking others on their potentially first backpacking trip?
It was a transition because once you get the hiking bug, you want to keep doing it. So Gombe not only hikes, they do other things. They have kickball leagues. They do a lot of other outdoor activities. And I'm like, no, I want to hike. So I started hiking. Then I started backpacking, started solo backpacking. And then I found other people that wanted to do the same thing I wanted to do. So I would have to start like researching these trails and learning about these trails and going out scouting trails. Like my first hosted backpacking trip was a catastrophe. But we were supposed to be doing like 22 miles up this mountain, go around Big Slosh. And it was like on the West Virginia line. And it was in March of 2020, actually. I'm hosting this backpacker trip and I'm like, okay, I got this. And go out there and started off nice and cool that morning. We started climbing up this mountain. The temperature actually went from the 40s to about 80 degrees that day. Then everybody's like, okay, we're going straight up this mountain. Like, where's the campsite? Where's the campsite? The sun is setting. We got to get to camp. We got to get to camp. Like, the hike didn't start when it was supposed to start. We got to camp. Everybody was at camp like, okay, we got to figure this out. Are we going to continue this tomorrow or are we going to, call it quits? It's like, let's continue. So overnight, the temperature dropped down to probably in the 20s. We woke up in the morning, everybody had like frost on the tents. People were cramping up from the day before because we climbed like 1,200 feet of elevation with our backpacks on. And they was like, oh, D-Pen, you set us up. They was like, you know what, let's get off of this mountain. So we all hiked out that day. And I was just like, okay, I got to do a little bit more studying when I host these backpacker trips. Even though I had a meeting and I told everybody, hey, be prepared for, the unknown, because I didn't completely do that hike. I came out, I scouted the area, but I didn't do the hike. So the lesson learned, and I got better in time.
Yeah, I think everybody that leads hiking groups has a story similar to that. I've shared on, I believe, one of my episodes. We were supposed to do an easy hike. It was going to be 4.5 miles with a river crossing at the end. And because it was in a wilderness area, I had to split up the group into two smaller groups. I led the first group. We made it down to the river. We were waiting for the second group to arrive, and we had walkie-talkies, and I was in communication with them. They kept saying they were getting close, but we never saw them, so I ended up going up to the trail junction and waiting for them, and they never showed. Lo and behold, they had missed the trail junction, and what should have been a 4.5 mile hike turned into a 8 to 10 mile hike, and the folks in the second group had the car keys for the ending point where all the cars were parked, and my group only had the car keys for the ones that were at the trailhead. Let's just say a lot of the group members, the trail itself is called Pleasant Valley. They have comically renamed it to Unpleasant Valley because of that experience. But, they came back and, it was a learning experience. I now know that when it comes to those trail junctions, make sure that somebody's there, because if it's going 3 or 4 different ways, it's easy to take the wrong turn. It's a learning experience, and now we can laugh about it, a year removed. And I got to ask DonWitt, because I think a lot of us, when we first get into backpacking, that tends to be the heaviest pack. You went from that 70 plus backpack. What's your backpacking pack weight right now?
My backpacking weight averages between 40 to 45 pounds.
And that's with food, water, all in, right?
Food, water, and if it's a one-nighter, cast iron skillet and a steak.
Ooh, okay. I like that. That's the luxury item I need instead of a camp chair. Give me that cast iron and a steak.
Yes.
So that's great. You were able to shave off nearly half the pounds from that first pack.
That first pack I had, it was a one-night trip. I swear I had maybe 2 extra outfits. Like, I brought so much food with me because I'm like, I'm gonna be in the wilderness. I don't know these people. I need to be able to survive for days. So instead of having an extra day of food, I probably had like 2 or 3 extra days of food with me.
Now, as a plus size adventurer and influencer, what barriers do you think still exist in the outdoor world, and how are you helping to break those down in your own community?
I show up. I come out on the trail, and I'm a friendly hiker. I speak to everybody. So if I started the trailhead and let's say we're doing a clockwise loop in the group, they doing a counterclockwise loop, I speak to them and then we go around halfway and they'll see me. They're like, oh, he's still out here. I'm like, yeah, I'm still out here. Like, I'll see you around. I speak and I like to be seen.
I think that was one of the biggest pieces of advice when I first started my own hiking club, is to just show up and, schedule out the hikes just so people are aware that you're in it for the long run. You're not just doing hikes here and there, but just to give people options and know that you're going to be there, for the upcoming hiking season. And I think that's really a huge factor in the success in bringing people outdoors, is just to be there and be available.
Definitely, yes. I have people that are beginners just getting into hiking and they're asking me questions like, when is your next easy hike? I said, I will put something out there so people can get out there and we do a nice, easy hike. There's a nice walk around the park. So you get out there, stretch your legs and get used to just being in nature. And a lot of people, they like that because a lot of people don't want to go out by themselves. They want to be around other people when they go out so they can feel and become one with nature. And also when they go out, they don't want to be, oh my God, I'm in the back. I got to catch up with everybody. I said, no, let's go out there. We could stop, smell the flowers. We could look at the waterfall. You could play in the waterfalls, enjoy yourself. I want you to enjoy yourself while you're out on the trail.
You know, we were talking before we started recording. I haven't really made it out to the East Coast yet. I've been to Maine, but I haven't been down to Virginia. What are some of your favorite hiking regions or trails in your neck of the woods?
Oh, Shenandoah is my backyard. So, shoot, I go out Shenandoah. There's any of the trails from Stony Man, White Oak Canyon, and then my old favorite one, Old Rag Mountain. We could talk about Old Rag all day, but we're not going to dwell on that one on this one.
You know, since it's in your backyard, do you have a favorite season to visit, or is each season pretty special for you?
So I'm more partial to the fall and spring. I still hike in the winter, but a lot of times Skyline Drive gets closed if we have snow because the roads are just icy, so they'll just close it up, won't let nobody in there anyway. But the fall, when the fall foliage, which is about to start next month, looking forward to that.
It's definitely high on the bucket list is to be able to see the fall colors down in Shenandoah. The whole region, I think, from Virginia, the Carolinas, even Tennessee, I hear amazing things about the fall foliage and even the waterfalls.
Yeah, the waterfalls are amazing. You definitely have to come over here. We could do a tour of the Smokies. We could go to Shenandoah, and there's a few other places that I can show you that are not in the national parks. And you'd be like, wow, y'all have all this over here. I'm like, yes, we do.
Oh, will do. Yeah. I think for 2026, I need to make it out there to the east side and explore. You know, at the very beginning, DonWitt, we talked about you climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, and that is an incredible feat. You were training for 8 months for that climb, which is no small feat. What did your preparation look like? And in your opinion, what was the hardest part of actually being on the mountain?
Do as many hard hikes as I could find. It was all about trying to get as much elevation over here on the East Coast because we don't have the elevation to get acclimated like some of the mountains that y'all have out west. So it was just all about just trying to find the highest hikes you could get. And some of them we did more than once, like Signal Knob. It was just one of those gradual but high elevation hikes to kind of get people prepared and get in the right mindset of what we're going to be doing. And while we was hiking on the weekends, I was also doing yoga twice a week. I was kickboxing twice a week and just trying to get my body in the best shape that I could possibly get in before I go to Tanzania and attempt to climb this mountain. And once I finally got to Kilimanjaro, that mountain, she's very intimidating when you when you see her. But I'm like, okay, let's get to the top of this mountain. Let's do it. So I would say my hardest day was between days 3 and 4. We was leaving Sheba Camp 2 to go to Barranca Camp the following day. And that night, we had our supper, and Simon came in and gave us our assignment of what we're going to do the next day. And he said, we're going to be acclimating the next tomorrow. We're going to be going up to Lava Tower. And if you don't acclimate correctly up there, that might be the end of your trip. And I think that hit me. That struck something in me because when I got to my tent that night, my heart rate jumped up. And I swear I was having a small anxiety attack. And my heart rate was just going doom, 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 doom. And I'm laying there in my tent. I'm talking to myself. I don't remember if I was talking out loud or just talking, to my inner self. But I'm just like, okay, you've climbed mountains before. What is going on? You got this. This is just another challenge on this mountain. We got this. And eventually, I talked myself down. I was practicing my breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. And I laid there. And I think that night I probably had one of the best sleeps I've had on that mountain. And the next day I got up, and they have a saying on Kilimanjaro, pole pole. It means slowly, slowly, one step at a time, slowly, slowly. And that day, going to Lava Tower, my pole was the fastest in my group. I was ahead of everybody, and they was like, D-Pen, what got into you? I was like, I feel good. I don't know if I had the strength of my ancestors with me or what, but whatever it was, it pushed me, and I got up to Lava Tower, and I didn't have any problem with my breathing. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I am meant to be here. That was the hardest thing that I had to deal with, was getting past that small little anxiety that I had thinking about the elevation and getting acclimated.
For having to train for so many months and dealing with that challenge on the actual mountain, what was it like for you to finally reach that destination and summit Mount Kilimanjaro? What feelings came over you once you completed the task?
Ooh. So going up to this summit, we started at 11 o'clock that night. And I swear, like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm walking, and every time if we stopped for a couple seconds, I would fall asleep leaning forward on my tracker poles. My porter would come tap me. He said, "We do not sleep on the mountain." But just to fast forward and get up there, when getting to that summit, when I saw that sign, Stella Point, and I'm like, I knew that was my summit for this trip. I knew that was all I needed. I had so much on me. It felt like I had the weight of the world on me. It felt like I had to do this for every plus-size person that I knew. I had to prove that I belong out here, that this is where I need to be. And I cried for about 10 minutes at the summit. Everybody's up there taking pictures in front of the sign. I'm sitting down on a rock just crying. And it was an amazing feeling. I've never felt that good in my life. And I have kids, and don't let them hear this, but it felt better than them being born, Like, oh my God, here I am. And it was like, okay, you want to go to the next summit? Nah, not today. This is my summit. But yeah, that was it. Overwhelming joy.
And I gotta say, you really inspired me. We have the mutual friend Kelly who connected us, and I was able to go down there to Arizona in June and summit Humphreys Peak, the tallest peak in Arizona, with her and Becca, Britt, and Grant and their partners. And same thing, the night before I didn't get any sleep. I was, my heart rate was kind of beating because while Washington State has the Cascades, it's typically the volcanoes that have that type of elevation, 12, 13, 14,000 feet. Seeing how you prepared for Kilimanjaro has really sparked the interest in doing something harder, whether it's Mount Whitney or Mount Adams, which is in my backyard, and just seeing how you approached Kilimanjaro and hearing you say what it meant to you to summit it has been truly inspiring. And I'm already looking like, okay, next summer, what peaks do I want to hit? I need to start training now. And I think one of the great things that you mentioned that I think sometimes hikers might not necessarily be aware of, but I find huge benefits when I involve yoga in my personal practice when it comes to either recovery or preparing for hikes. It really does wonders in making myself not feel as sore after a strenuous hike. So that's cool that not only were you able to incorporate kickboxing, but you also incorporated yoga into your practice and training.
Yeah, I kickboxed for about, I think it was twice a week for about a month. And then one day I had kicked the bag and I was like, nope, this is my last day. Because I was like, I need these legs to be able to take me up this mountain. And I think that day I had went in there and I think I was just, how you just get this angry and frustrated. And I was taking it out on the bag, but then I felt like, I can't be doing this. This is not where this is supposed to be. I'm supposed to be out here just training, practicing light work so I can be prepared for this mountain. I don't need to go up there, using tracker poles as canes because I was trying to walk.
DonWitt, one other post that caught our attention that was really a magical and personal moment for you is when you reached Stella Point and you carried the Pine Forge Academy flag to honor your friend's alma mater. Can you share what that moment meant to you personally and symbolically?
Well, I had recently just did research on Pine Forge Academy, and that academy has come a long way, and it's only one of 2 all-Black boarding schools that's still in the United States. And it meant so much for me to get that flag up there. And I got it up there, and I was like, yes. I was like, all right, I got to get pictures with this flag. This flag's got to be up there. And then Balthazar, he was like, I could take the flag to your peak for you. I said, go right ahead, sir. So that's how that flag made it to Europe Peak, and I didn't, because Balthazar couldn't carry me up there. I didn't have any more in me to go up. But what Pine Forge has done for the African American community has been amazing. And I was honored to be able to take that flag up there for them.
What a beautiful moment to be able to take that flag up there. And one thing that you said is you'll be back for Uhuru Peak and that you have some unfinished business with it. Is that something that you're planning to do in the next couple of years?
Most definitely. I will be returning to Tanzania sooner than you think. And Uhuru Peak, I'm coming. I will be summiting Kilimanjaro again before I started my trek on the Appalachian Trail, and they're all around the corner. It's so close. But you should come. You should come to Tanzania.
Oh, it's definitely on my bucket list, and I would love to be able to summit Kilimanjaro. I'm not necessarily a peak bagger, but especially Kilimanjaro, that mountain, to be able to summit and do something that challenging and rewarding is definitely high on my bucket list. I'll definitely keep in touch and see what we can work out, but I am really thankful that you hinted about the Appalachian Trail, and you've hinted that you have some big goals ahead, like backpacking on the AT after retirement. Is there any hints that you can give us on what's next on your adventure horizon in the near term?
It's one or two directions I'm going, I would say next summer. I'm either going to be in Iceland or I'll be Tour de Mont Blanc. Those are my two choices for next year. But meanwhile, I'll be doing other hikes. I'm going to do the Mighty Five in Utah, and there's a few backpacking trips that I want to plan in the Capitol Reef. There's a few other national parks I'm going to check out in the U.S.
You know, you mentioned that you'll be coming up here to the Pacific Northwest to cross off some more national parks. Really looking forward to seeing which direction you go next year, whether it's Iceland or Tour de Mont Blanc. Both are beautiful in their own rights. I've heard great things about Iceland, definitely on the bucket list. But switching gears, you know, we've talked about inspiration and how you've been an inspiration for others. How do you hope your story from those first painful steps climbing up that mountain on that first backpacking trip inspires others who might also feel like maybe the outdoor isn't for them?
I'm hoping that my story and what people see, I hope they just want to give it a try. They don't have to climb 1,000 feet elevation to go out in nature. You could go to your local state park. You could walk outside of your house. Just get outside, start moving. Once you start moving and you see the beauty that's around you, instead of driving past it all the time, and you walk, you see more. Go to a waterfall. There are waterfalls that you could drive up to and just get out your car and just stand beside the waterfall. Go to the waterfall and just stare and look in the water. Your life will change. It's the small things and the small steps. Just do something. Don't live through me. Live your life. You know, get out there and do something.
And you're so right. I've shared this before, but my first hiking experience right out of high school was not a good experience. And I was like, hiking's not for me. This isn't it. And it wasn't until I did a really short hike to Union Creek Falls, which is still one of my favorite waterfalls in the Pacific Northwest. You know, it's only 0.75 miles from the trailhead to the waterfall, and I was instantly hooked. I think doing, especially if you're just starting out, something easy, rewarding, even if it's just, like you said, going out for a walk in your community, state park, city park, just being out in nature. You don't have to have 1,000 feet of elevation gain on your first hike. You can do something really easy. And that's really important, especially for folks starting out. And you've been really great on not just your Instagram, but also on your YouTube account with being able to not just balance honesty and inspiration, but also humor. How did Hiking with the Bear start? And what do you hope people take away from watching that series?
Well, Hiking with the Bear, it started as a joke, really. We were camping, and the next morning, everybody got up, and they was like, well, we don't have to ever worry about a bear coming to camp because we have one here with us. Because I guess when I snore at night, I sound like a bear, so that keeps other bears away. So hence I took on the name Bear, because when I first started hiking, my hashtag was I'm Fat Man Hiker. And, you know, kind of stuck for a minute, but I started being called Bear and everybody started calling me Bear. And I was like, okay, well, let's go with Backpacking with the Bear. And I didn't like that too much because it kind of put me like one dimensional, like just backpacking. So I changed it up. Hiking with the Bear. Hiking is more open. It's a lot of things with hiking. So we're Hiking with the Bear.
With Hiking with the Bear, you do so well with balancing the humor and honesty. Is it sometimes a little bit of challenge to incorporate that humor into your videos, or because you've experienced different things on the trail, it's easier to incorporate some of that humor that you've learned from your time on the trail?
Yeah, so anybody that's around me, I joke around, I play around, and I have fun. And when I first started doing it, I was kind of serious. And I'm like, You don't have to be serious out here. Enjoy it and let people see what you're really doing out there. So my last couple reels, I started dancing because I get out there, I dance. I don't know how to dance at all. I have no rhythm. Can you believe that? A black man with no rhythm. So I'm out there just dancing, just moving my body, and it feels good. I'm just loose. I get loose, and I don't care who sees me. I'm having fun.
And that's what it's all about. It's all about having fun and enjoying yourself out in nature, whether it's dancing. Somebody said that they like to do a yoga pose when they summit, even if they don't capture it on video or on their phone. It's just something that they like to do. I think hike your own hike is very important in our community, especially for those that are just starting out. DonWitt, one of the regular segments that we do here on our podcast is doing a deep dive into our guest Instagram account and picking a specific post or reel and asking them a little bit more about them. But for yours, it was so hard to choose from your time in Tanzania. How was it visiting that country, outside of summiting Kilimanjaro?
That's a doozy because it was so much. Like between the safari, you know what? The people of Tanzania are amazing people. I adopted so many brothers there that I'm still in touch with to this day. I send them messages on WhatsApp just to see how they're doing, just to say hello. I care about those people. And just being around those people, when I first landed in Tanzania, we did a waterfall and coffee tour. It was at the Mataruni waterfall, and we stopped at the Mataruni village. And the guy there, Justin, is the son of the village chief there. I love that man. He was so genuine with me. Like at the end of the whole coffee tour thing, after we made coffee, I asked him, could I have some sugar cane? And he had to ask his father, but he cut me off a big old stalk of black sugar cane. And I took that back to the hotel and I shared it with my friends, and it was delicious and it was good times. The people of Tanzania made that trip everything. And when it was time to leave, I did not want to leave.
And DonWitt, I wanted to ask you, because you ended up doing a guided tour for Kilimanjaro, how did you research and choose the guide group that you ultimately summited Kilimanjaro with?
It was a collaboration. Here in the U.S., we have Gombe, Hiking with the Bear, Tailored Fitness, Vantage Point Hiking, and Hike Weirdo. We all sat together and we all looked at different tour groups. And we looked at Saraka Tours. Saraka Tours is led by Sophia and her friend Baraka, and they seem to be legit, and they are. They are very legit. So we formed the Black Adventure Collective, and we got some people together, and we chose Saraka Tours, and Saraka Tours was a great choice. And I'm still in touch with Sophia, talking about my return trip to Kilimanjaro.
Now, DonWitt, that was it for the regular questions. These last three questions are questions we like to ask all our guests. The first one is for both hikers, backpackers, and thru hikers. A lot of them have a regular summit routine, or maybe it's an end of the hike, end of the day routine. For a lot of us, it's packing a favorite snack or drink, or it's a moment of zen. And then for plenty of us, it's enjoying that favorite meal afterwards. Is there a regular custom or routine that you like to do when you reach your destination or when you make it back out?
Well, when I make it back out, I'm always in search of pizza. It has to be something I never had before. I don't try to find a chain place. I just try to find a mom and pop shop that makes pizza, and I'll go to that shop, get me a nice supreme pizza, and that will be it. But if there's no pizza available, I would go to a brewery, get me a nice cold beer, burger, or steak. Example, so when I got off Kilimanjaro, so I got to go back to the mountain real quick. So it was summit night. That morning after the sun had rose, Balthazar, our guide, he saw that we were just almost defeated. And he came up to me, he said, "Bear, open your mouth." He gave me a piece of ginger that he had in his pocket in a Ziploc bag. He said his father grows his ginger. It's ginger and honey. He just said, "Open your mouth," because I had gloves on and everything, holding my trekking poles. So he put the ginger in my mouth. He said, "Chew." I'm holding my mouth open like a bird, and then let this man put stuff in my mouth. I'm just like, okay. And then, of all things, he pulled a bottle of Coca-Cola out of his pocket. and the Coca-Cola had that frost in it with the ice chunks. And he poured some of that in my mouth. It was the best Coca-Cola that I had. And I also realized, thinking about it at this point, that was the first Coca-Cola that I had in Tanzania since I've been there for almost 12 days already. And that Coke was delicious. So I was like, when I get off of this mountain, I want a Coke, as cold as I could get it, a Kilimanjaro beer, and a burger. And I wanted a shot of bourbon, but I ended up getting a shot of rum. But I didn't get the burger, ended up with fish. I got the beer, I got the Coke, and I got the shot. So that was the Kilimanjaro thing. I was like, I need to have these things. So Kilimanjaro beer is very good. It's very smooth. And I'm like, they did good on this one. They said, if you're not climbing Kilimanjaro, you're drinking it.
Now, the next question, DonWitt, is about your pack list. You've already mentioned on some overnighters you like to pack your cast iron and a steak. Are there any other luxury items that you tend to pack that falls outside of the essentials?
I would say, actually, not really. I do double up on a couple things. So I'll carry 2 water filters with me in a heartbeat. Even though I'll have the tablets, the iodine tablets for, the purified water, I always carry 2 water filters with me, or I try to at least. No, not really. I don't carry a chair with me. I'm not one of them, oh, you gotta have a camp chair. No. It takes up space and takes up weight. Look, I'm not a light packer, but like those ounces, they add up.
And I think you made a good choice with the cast iron skillet and a steak, because I'd much rather have that after a long day of hiking than a camp chair, because the ground or a stump or a rock would do just fine if I was eating a good steak. DonWitt, we're at the beginning of fall when we're recording this, and there's still plenty of hiking left for the rest of 2025. Is there any hiking or travel goals that you have for the remainder of the year?
Well, yeah. I'll be in Washington State next week in North Cascades. I'll be in the North Cascades National Park. After that, I'm thinking about going down to Oregon because I've never been to Oregon before. So just give me a couple things to do while I'm out there. And maybe before the year's out, I can make it down to the Smokies. Maybe. If not, there's always Mammoth Cave in Kentucky that I'm thinking about going down and checking out for my birthday. Maybe.
Love that. Can't wait to see you post from your visit, not just to North Cascades, but the Pacific Northwest and what you're able to explore down in Oregon. That was it, DonWitt, for the regular questions. We always like to finish the podcast with the this or that questions. And for season 12, we've updated it and we even threw in some backpacking questions for you. But I'm going to give you 2 hiking related topics and you choose which one you prefer out of the 2. But you're more than welcome to say both or neither, and feel free to elaborate on your choice. But the first one is, if you had to choose between hiking seasons, would you choose the summer or the fall?
Fall, for sure. So last year, and I think the year before that, I said I will not be hiking between the months of July, August, and early September because of the extreme heat. And I'm a mosquito magnet. They love me. I'm like, you know what? I'll stay out of their territory for a bit. But I've kind of went against that this year, and I've been out on the trail. So I've been bit maybe twice. I lather my body in off or whatever I have in the car available for me. I just put that spray on and I just go.
And then this next one is a tough one for a lot of people. But if you had to choose, would you choose waterfalls or summits?
I want to say both, but I actually want to give you an answer on this one because I love a good waterfall. But getting to the top of a summit and when you're standing and you feel like you're standing on top of the world, that's a feeling that is unbelievable. No matter which summit you're on, whether you're at the top of Murray's Rock or Old Rag Mountain, getting to the top of that summit, once you get up there and you know you've climbed 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet, 2,000, whatever the feet is, you get up there and you just put your hands up in the air and you just celebrate like, yes, you made it. Going back to Tanzania, when I was in Africa, when we got to the top of Barranco Wall, we were over the clouds. You looking out in this horizon and all you see is this white, and it just looks like a white fluffy, like you can just go and just jump on them, and I'm like, nah, it's just a feeling that is amazing. Not taking nothing from waterfalls.
And this next one's another hard one, but if you had a choice in how you reached a summit, would you choose switchbacks or straight up?
Straight up, I cannot stand switchbacks. Switchbacks, we're going a little bit up here. We're going a little bit up here. We're going a little... No, let's just go straight up. Let's just embrace the suck and get to the top of this mountain. Switchbacks are a good idea, but they should be optional.
And then I think I know the response to this one, but do you use trekking poles or freehand?
Oh, trekking poles. I take my trekking poles on places. People like, how are you using trekking poles? I'm like, I'm using them. Trust me. My trekking poles have saved me many a day, and I will continue to use them till I'm done hiking.
Now, DonWitt, this next one is about your footwear. When it comes to your footwear, are you wearing traditional hiking boots or trail runners?
I recently started wearing hiking boots last year. Picked up a pair of Keen Target 4s. Those are the ones that got me up to the summit. Those are the most comfortable boots I've ever worn. But I put them on since I got back from Africa, and I started getting hot spots on my feet, so I stopped wearing them. The insole is probably gone on it. Instead of me changing the insole, I just ordered a new pair. So I have those, but I was like, okay, I need to hike meanwhile. So I had a pair of ultra hiking shoes, and I've been wearing those, and it felt weird going back out because when I first started hiking back in, I think in 2020, I discovered ultras, like in 2019, 2020, something like that. I discovered ultras, and that's all I was hiking in. And they're good for when you're hiking and you got stream crossings and things like that, because you can keep them on your feet. They'll dry while you're hiking. But then I went over to the boots. Now I'm back in ultras right now, and it feels good to be back in ultras, but I think I'm going to stick with the boots for the future and as far as I can see.
And this next one is about trail systems. If you had to choose, would you do a loop trail or an out and back trail?
Honestly, I cannot stand out and backs. That means you got to see the same thing twice. If you had a hill that you was going up or a hill that you go down, you're like, oh, you know what goes down must go back up. Like, I'd rather be a surprise. Let me loop this. So yeah, I prefer loops over out and backs.
I know this next one, especially further up north, like around Pennsylvania and New York, you experience some of these trail hazards. But if you had to choose between these two trail hazards, would you choose a muddy trail or a rocky trail?
Oh, you had to bring Pennsylvania up in this conversation. Oh my God. Let me tell you, anytime I'm in a rock field on the trail, I said, thank you, Pennsylvania. I don't even be in Pennsylvania. I'd be in West Virginia. I was in Dolly Sides. It was this whole mile long of rocks on the trail. And I'm like, why? Why must Pennsylvania curse us like this? Because, they got the rock quarries up there and they just throw the rocks to different states. It's in the local area. I don't know what they do to them, but become accustomed to the rocks, but I prefer not to have the rocks. I was actually in Pennsylvania back in February, March. I think it was March. It was early spring. And I'm hiking on this trail and I get to this part where it's covered in snow still. And I'm like, where did this snow come from? And I started going forward on this trail. It was nothing but rocks. I said, nope. That was actually one time that I actually turned around. I do not turn around. I do not like to turn around on trails. But that trail, I was like, no. I was not equipped for that. I didn't have my crampons on. I was not expecting to see snow on these rocks. I knew the rocks were there, because I was in Pennsylvania. You're going to run into rocks. But the snow, I was like, nope, snow, ice, me by myself. Nah, not on this trip.
Now, these next two are some of the hardest ones in my opinion. But if you had to choose, would you do a sunset hike or a sunrise hike?
You see, I'm speechless right now. So they both have their advantages. I'm going to say both, because I would do a sunrise hike if I plan on continuing to hike after, I get to a peak and see the sunrise and then like McAfee Knob or something like that and just, keep hiking. But a sunset hike is nice. You watch the sunset, you go set up camp somewhere and wait for the stars to come out and just enjoy the night like that. So yeah, you go either way with that one.
Now, this next one's another hard one as well, but you guys have it in stunning fashion in either season. But if you had to choose, would you go spring wildflowers or fall colors?
I'm fall colors. I let my friends do all the little flowers and stuff. They take pictures of flowers. I say, oh, they pretty. I say, where's the fall foliage? I want to see the yellow and the red leaves. And yeah, I'm all for the fall.
This next one, DonWitt, is new for season 12 because I feel like a lot of hikers and especially backpackers are always carrying electrolytes, especially for some of these grueling and demanding hikes. And there's so many electrolytes now. In your personal preference, do you do tablets or powdered electrolytes?
I'm a powdered electrolytes person. So when I'm hiking, I have my electrolytes container right on my chest, and I'm able to just put the electrolytes in it, keep it going. But yeah, it's powder.
And then these next three are for backpackers. If you had to choose between these two, and this is going to be a hard one, would you choose bug bites or sunburns?
Sunburns? Oh, sunburn. Have you ever been bit by a horsefly before?
No, I've been lucky.
Oh, they're worse than mosquito bites. They suck. Oh my God, because the flies, no, sunburn, please.
And then this next one is about trail hazards that you might experience on a backpacking trip. But if you had to choose, would you choose a stream crossing or a snowfield traverse?
I love stream crossings. Stream crossings are amazing. I've never done a snow traverse yet. We don't get that much over here like, y'all do out there. But I want to do one. But yeah, stream crossings all day. I was in Yellowstone, actually. And it was our first day in the park, and I think we had 13 stream crossings one way, and we was doing an outback that day. I think it was 13. I might be exaggerating, but I know it was double digits each way. The first time in Yellowstone, we didn't know no better, so at every stream crossing, we were taking our shoes off, and we put our Crocs on to cross the water, dry our feet off, put our shoes back on. You know how much time that took? Yeah, no, stream crossings now, walk through the water in your shoes. Let's keep it moving.
The last one is when it comes to your pack list. I think right now there's two camps. While some backpackers might be, bridging the gap, but in your own personal preference, do you like to pack ultralight or luxury items? But I feel like I know the answer to this one.
Definitely luxury items. Everything from my cast iron skillet to me taking a tent and a hammock when I go camping or backpacking. And I double up on water filters. It's not about the weight. It's about me being comfortable. So luxury items.
DonWitt, that was it for the This or That section of the podcast. For folks that want to follow your journey, as well as see your previous posts, where are some of the places they can follow you on social media and online?
You can check me out on Instagram, Hiking with the Bear, no spaces. YouTube, also Hiking with the Bear, no spaces. And on Facebook, Hiking with the Bear, spaced out.
We'll be sure to put those in the episode show notes, DonWitt, so people can check it out. It has been a blast speaking with you and hearing your stories, and keep doing what you're doing because you really are inspiring individuals, and you definitely got me wanting to bag some bigger peaks, and just seeing your journey for Kilimanjaro has me already thinking about my journey for 2026. And I'll have to take you up on Kilimanjaro. If not 2026, 2027, do something big. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to speak with me, and keep doing what you're doing.
Ivan, it has been amazing being here tonight on this podcast with you and just chatting it up. I definitely appreciate this, and I definitely looking forward to getting you out on the trail, meeting you out on the trail somewhere. Let's meet up somewhere sometime. Matter of fact, next couple weeks, I will be there in Washington State, and I will be going to the North Cascades National Park. And I am planning a return trip to do the third and final national park there, Mount Rainier, in 2026. I plan on backpacking it and living it up to the best. So when I come out for that, maybe you should meet me up on that one. It'll be a great adventure.
Deal. I would be excited to do that with you. Yeah, let me know when you're coming out and we'll put it on the books. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do something. That's going to be exciting to be able to cross off the third one here in Washington and finish it off with Mount Rainier. Thank you so much, DonWitt. It has been a pleasure speaking with you, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the year has to offer for you.
Thanks for having me on here. I appreciate it. And for those who are listening, thank you for listening. This is Hiking with the Bear. I push to inspire, and I hope I inspire somebody tonight.
And that brings us to the end of this episode alongside DonWitt. We extend a heartfelt thanks to them for joining us on the podcast. Be sure to follow them on Instagram at Hiking with the Bear and by checking out the episode show notes. This episode of Hikes and Mics was produced by Jordan Smith. Be sure to follow her adventures on Instagram at jordan.journeys. New episodes will drop every Monday throughout the fall hiking season, with occasional Friday bonus episodes sprinkled in. To make sure you never miss a moment of these inspiring trail stories, hit the follow or subscribe subscribe button. Your support truly keeps this community growing. Don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Hikes and Mics. That's where you'll find behind-the-scenes episode visuals, my own hiking adventures, and plenty more to keep the fall inspiration flowing. As we wrap up today's journey, remember, the trails may be covered in leaves, but the spirit of adventure is wide open. So tread those happy trails, breathe in that crisp autumn air, and keep exploring. Until next time, my fellow hikers, happy hiking. This episode's music was created by Ketsa. Follow him on Instagram at Ketsa Music. This episode is brought to you by Ursa Minor Outfitters. Folks, I'm absolutely in love with my loon mug. It's handmade, it's an absolute piece of art. Whether it's at the office or at the house, people keep asking to check it out. If you're not a loon fan, they also have other beautiful mugs for wildlife fans of moose, bears, and eagles. They specialize in products highlighting the outdoors and local pride through quality design by local artists. They've even started expanding into items beyond mugs, like apparel, dog accessories, and soon candles and more. They also try to partner and highlight other small businesses, and in some cases, forego profits in lieu of charitable giving to help their community, such as the dog rescue. So check them out, ursaminooroutfitters.com, and enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. And for our four-legged hiking partners, they also have a portable silicone dog bowl and also a sweet over-the-collar dog bandana. Go check them out, ursaminooroutfitters.com, and don't forget to enter promo code HikesMikes10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order.